Hello, this is Tommy. Welcome back to Chatomics. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to combine multiple counts files from, for example, bulk RNA sequencing data into a single file using R. So in my last video, I showed you how to do that using Unix commands. So the files that we are going to combine are those four files, sample 1, 2, 3, 4 TSV. So if you look at them, those are files with two columns, okay, gene column and the count column, okay? And we have four files, so we want to combine them into a count matrix. So the final output will be the rows are genes, columns are the samples. So how we do that in R? Okay, so let's just load those libraries, so tidyr, dplyr, and readr, okay? So first thing we want to do is to find the files, okay, using the list.files function. And this is the folder name, and this is the pattern, so sample.tsv. And we want to return the full name, the full path. So if we do this and look at the files, so those are the file paths for those four samples. And we also want to actually name them, actually. Those just a vector, but we want to make a name the vector, okay? So, okay, so name the files. So essentially so in here we use streamr package is the split and then the files, and pattern is / and then we get the fifth element. So if we do this, so essentially we just get the sample 1, 2, 3, 4. And we also want to remove that .tsv. So if we do this, so we only have sample 1, 2, 3, 4. So those will be the names for this vector. Okay. Here we use the _split function. You can also use the base name function to, for example, base name to remove the path, so to get this directly, okay? But anyway, this works. So let's do that and look at the files. So now this is the vector, so there's a file path and with the name, okay? This actually is important with names, because the later functions, for example, the reduce function, the map function, they will actually take advantage of those names of the vector, okay? So let me first show you how to use a for loop. I mean, although I barely use for loops in R, but I just want to show you how to do that in R, okay? So to do that, so we first create the empty data frame. So results and this data frame, this empty data frame here. So data frame with 0 columns and 0 rows. So now we loop over those four files. For file, in files, and curly bracket, then read in that file. And we also want to add another column, because if you remember, we only have two columns here, but you want to add another column to indicate which sample it's from, okay? So what we do here is essentially the same function like here. So we replace all these things and only retain the sample name, okay? Also remove the .tsv here. So only the sample 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is the data frame here, and then we add a new column X called sample, and that will be the sample name here. And after we do this, we actually do row bind the results and this new data frame, and it will loop over these four files and kind of concatenate them together. Okay, let's run this. Okay, and look at the results. So essentially now we have what we want. So in a long format, so each row will be one gene from one sample, okay? Now we just need to make it into a wide format. So rows are genes, colons are the samples. So to do this, we can use the tidyr pivot wider function. So those are newer functions. The old function names are called gather and spread. So now they change the name to pivot wider or pivot longer. Okay. So to do this, so we can use tidyr pivot wider names. So those are the new column names will be from this column, sample. The values will be from the counts column. Okay, so let's do this. And this is what we want. So, okay, rows are the genes and columns are the samples. Okay, we can also use lapply to loop over the files and then read the TSV. Okay, let's try. Okay, if we do that, and if we look at counts, so it will be a list of data frame. Okay, so read TSV will actually read each of the files. Okay, and you look at here. So now it become a list, and the name of each element now is the name of that files. The name of the files. So if you look at the names of files, and you have sample 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why it's very neat to have the sample name, the names vectors for the files. Otherwise, you will only have the index as the 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of the sample name here. Okay, so what we can do here, we can use the base R function do.call and do a row bind for those counts for this list. Okay, so if we do this, so we get this. Or we can use the reduce function from per. So those two are actually the same. Okay, this from base R, this from the per function, per package. It will give you the same results. However, the problem here is that we are missing the third column sample to indicate which sample those gene counts are from. So to do this, actually, we can just define a new function called read counts, and we will read that file and essentially just add a new column for using that file name. Right. So this essentially is the same as what we do here. So just get the sample 1, 2, 3, 4 from the file path, and then add another column for the data frame and return it. Okay. So we do this, then now we can use lapply files. So loop over those files and then use this function called read counts. It's okay. So now it's still a list of counts, but now we have another column here. Okay. So now we can do the same thing. Do.call rbind counts. So we get the long format, and then the same thing here, and now you can just pivot it to a long format. Okay, for example, you can just pipe it into this, and now you get these count metrics. Okay, rows are the genes, columns are the samples. Of course, you can also use the map function. Instead of use lapply, use map from per. Now I can prefer use the map function from the tidyverse ecosystem. So if you do this, counts, and if you look at this again, okay, there's still a list of data frames, but in this case, we can use this bind rows function and use the counts as the first argument. Then we can add another column as the sample, and this .id actually refer to this name of each element. So let's see how it looks like if we do this. So we have another column that is added, so indicating which sample it's from. Okay, and of course we can just pivot wider to a wider format, so you still get the same results. There are some other even easier functions called map underscore data frame. So it will actually return a data frame, so files, and use the read R function, read TSV, So it's the same thing we're using here, and you can directly put .id equals to sample. I believe it's just a wrapper function for all those stuff that we did like explicitly. So, and if we do this, and now we get this long format, then we can actually further pivot into a wide format. Okay, so then you see there are multiple ways to do the same thing, and it really depends on your experience, and you'll see how easy it can be by just using a single line of code and to achieve the same thing. So make sure you also watch my previous video how to use the Unix command to perform the same task. I hope you learn something, and happy learning. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.